2024. We're having the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting tonight. Before we get started, I do want to say that we are missing 3 commissioners tonight. We're missing Kimberly Cheney, Commissioner Deborah Kelly, and Commissioner Matthew Malone. Okay. As we get started, would y'all please stand for invocation, please? Ms. Ann, who's going to lead us tonight.
Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this another opportunity to come together, Lord, to just meet and try to serve our community as best that we can. Lord, we pray and ask for your wisdom here tonight and your revelation knowledge to show us and lead us in the way you would have for us to go. We pray for all of those that are here in attendance, for safe passage here and both home as we go to our various destinations. And Lord, we thank you. We thank you for this day. And we thank you for all that you bless each and every one of us with, and we continue to serve you in the best of our abilities the way you have provided for us to. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray and ask it all. Amen.
Amen. Would y'all please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and also for the pledge of the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay. Please be seated. Okay. As we get started, is there anyone in the audience that wants to say anything to the board? Please feel free to come forward. This is anything not regarding to the agenda tonight. Anything not in regards to the agenda tonight. Do we have anybody in the audience? Okay. Thank you very much. We'll get on going. Do I have a motion for the commissioners? Have y'all looked at the adoption for the minutes from last month? Do I have a motion on the minutes?
I make a motion
Oh,
to
go
accept
ahead.
the minutes from the May 23rd, 2024.
I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 23rd, 2024. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, motion carries. All right, we're going to open the public hearing. Now we're going to go with item 6.1. First thing we to discuss, we're going to conduct a public hearing to receive comments regarding a zone change from agriculture AG to commercial C base zoning on 5.048 acres of land out of the ML Swing Survey. Abstract number 501, Block 2, Nike Country Estates, and unrecorded subdivision in the city of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas. The property is also known as 15720 State Highway 205, City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, ZC 24-05. Yes, ma'am.
Chairman,
Yeah.
before we get started on that,
Turn, yeah, there.
Before we get started, Ms. Wappler, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'd like to make a point of, for public to go on record for our committee. I would ask that moving forward, and not to say this hasn't happened, but just so that we know, on every property or every zoning change or anything that comes before us is something that has previously occurred like that, or especially since some of us are fairly new, if a similar situation has occurred or anything regarding that, that it be brought to our attention and maybe let us know how, what happened with that and maybe what the situation was, so that we can make sure we're looking at all things fairly. And I say this as a point of, to bring forward publicly due to some questions that were raised with the city council at the last meeting regarding the property that we did not side with and or did not agree to, as opposed to one property that had previously, which I, didn't have any knowledge of. Not to say I think we were good in our decision, but I just want to be aware of those things so that we make sure we take those things into consideration moving forward.
Yes, ma'am, and tonight I have an example of one that I'm going to give you all the information. I have exact dates and what have you. So I will make sure I have that on all ones coming forward. Chairman and Commissioners, tonight I bring you a zone change. This is for an applicant who is not yet the landowner. The landowner is Samuel and Lisa Haffertap, and the proposed buyer is Garden Construction. Garden Construction is considering putting a flex space offices out there to tailor to HVAC companies, electrical contractors, plumbing contractors, et cetera. They are looking to change the zoning from agriculture. And Commissioners, this property was annexed into the city limits back on April the 18th of 2023. And as you remember, any property that comes into our city limits from the county or our ETJ automatically comes in as agriculture. And so today, they have a buyer, and he has a use established that he wants to construct on the property, and that's for a commercial use. Now, I don't have any details today because today we're just working on the zone change. And if it is approved tonight, then that applicant, once he takes legal title to the property, he will or she will have to come back in front of you and present an SUP application. 8 letters were sent out to the adjacent owners within the 200-foot buffer, and we received one response in favor, and that was from Mr. and Mrs. Samuel Haffertap, who actually own the property. If approved tonight, on July 16th, the buyers will come back and will present to city council, and then, like I said, in the future, they'll bring back then whatever their definite uses of the property. Staff does recommend the zoning change from agriculture to commercial. If you'll turn to the next few pages, you will find the application. On page 20 is the location map. So the property fronts State Highway 205, and then the nearest intersection is FM 1392 and County Road 243. The following is the zoning map. Everything is in green. That is zoned agriculture. Page 22 is the future land use, and that in the highlighted red shows that it's for Texas Heritage. That falls in line with the agricultural use, but because today we're wanting to do a commercial, and we generally, on these types of applications, when one changes, you're going to see multiple properties then start wanting to change their zoning. The following page on 23 is the buffer map. The following page, you'll see the 8 individuals that we sent out, the individual public hearing notice. Next is the public hearing notices itself. Page 27. This is the property owner, Sam Haffertap, and he voted in favor of the zone change. And then I had the proposed owner on page 28 write a memo to you all and telling about that he did want to put flex space buildings in and what the uses were. And again, once he has confirmed what the use will be, then he'll come back and he'll be required to present civil plans, elevation plans, and his full concept that will be represented to you. And again, the city staff recommends approval of this zoning change.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, is there anybody in the audience that wants to come up and speak in favor of this zone change?
We own the property across the street, 15751 State Highway.
I'm sorry, state your name, sir?
Justin Scott,
Justin Scott. Okay, go ahead, sir.
and we own a company called Dunn Scott Investments. We own the property across the street directly. It's 15751 State Highway 205. And we would vote to approve what they'd like to do and allow them to change that from agricultural to commercial.
All right, thank you, sir. Appreciate your time. Okay, is there anyone else that wants to speak in favor? All right, do we have? Yes, sir.
Bart
State
Gardner.
your name, please.
Bart Gardner, and I own Gardner Construction, and we would be the ones, Gardner Land Holdings, purchasing this. So if you have any questions, I'm here to help to answer them.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it. All right. Do we have anybody else that wants to speak in favor to? Call the public hearing. Okay. Oh, yes, sir. Okay, if anyone wants to speak to, in regards to not approving this? No. All right, not in favor, I'm sorry. Okay, public hearing closed. We're going to move on to 6.2. An ordinance of the city, in the city council of the city of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, amending Appendix 2 zoning ordinance of the city of Terrell by changing the zone classification on certain real property, more particularly described by midts and bounds of 5.048 acres of land out of the ML Swing Survey Abstract Number 501, Kaufman County, Texas, and being further described as Block 2, Nike County Estates, an unrecorded subdivision, and also known as 15720 State Highway 205, City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, from agricultural AG to commercial C, as described in the property description contained in the general warranty deed attached hereto as Exhibit A, and made a part hereof for all purposes providing for severability and providing an effective date of ZC 24-05. Commissioners, keep in mind, all we're voting for today is basically going from agricultural to commercial. Any, commissioners have any questions for staff or for any?
I did have a question. Was this was this part of one of the areas that was annexed into the city?
Into the city limits back on, what did I say? April 18th, 2023.
205 area. Anything that's annexed automatically goes to ag.
Ag. All right. Any commissioners have any other questions for staff? Do I have a motion on the floor?
I move that we accept the recommendation to change this zoning from agricultural to commercial.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to approve zone change 24-05. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say yea.
Okay.
Any nays? No, motion carries. Okay. Item 6.3, we're going to conduct another public hearing to receive comments regarding a zone change from agricultural to commercial-based zoning on 7.08 acres of land out of the ML Swing Survey Abstract Number 501, Lot 5 and 6, Nike Country Estates, an unrecorded subdivision in the city of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas. The property is also known as 15662 State Highway 205, City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas. ZC 24-06. Ma'am.
Chairman and Commissioners, this is the same type of request from a agriculture to a commercial. This individual, who is the owner of the property as well as the business owner, is wanting to use the property as an event rental center for weddings, birthday parties, events like that. If it's approved tonight, then I will present immediately an SUP application, and I'll get more in the depth about what the use is going to be for that event. 8 letters were sent out to all of the adjacent property owners within the 200-foot buffer, and we have not received any responses either in favor or not in favor so far. If approved tonight, the specific use application will be presented next, as well as to City Council on July 16th, explaining the use of the property. Staff recommends the zone change. Thumbing through these next few pages, you'll find the application. On page 40 is her logo. The event's going to be called Waterfall, the Gathering Place. I'm not going to speak very much about her renderings because if approved again, I'll give you more detail on that. On page 44 is the location map, and if you'll travel north on this, or northwest, and on the north side is the one that just was presented to you. It's the 4th parcel down, the 15720. So it's right in the same area. The following page, 45, is your zoning map, agriculture. 46, again, the future land use is Texas Heritage. 47 is our buffer map. Page 48 are the budding owners, the 8 owners that were served. And then 49 is our public hearing notice that was mailed to each of those. This was also, the publication was run in the Terrell Tribune.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, is there anybody in the audience that wants to speak in favor? Yes, sir.
We'd like to agree to the change.
Thank you, sir.
Name is, do you need all my information again, or do you have it?
For the record, go ahead and state your name again, please.
Justin Scott,
Thank you, Mr.
Dunn
Scott.
Scott Investments is who owns the properties on paper.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to speak in favor? Okay, is there anyone else that wants to speak not in favor of this? No. Okay, we're going to close the hearing. Item 6.4 is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, amending Appendix 2 zoning ordinance of the City of Terrell by changing the zoning classification of certain real property, more particularly described in Mets and bounds as 7.08 acres out of the land of the ML Swing Survey Abstract Number 501, Kaufman County, Texas, being further described as part of Lot 5 and 6, Nike County Estates, an unrecorded subdivision and also known as 15662 State Highway 205, City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, from agriculture AG to commercial C as described in the property description contained in the deed of trust attached to hereto as Exhibit A, and the location map attached hereto as Exhibit B, both of which being a part hereof for all purposes, providing for severability and providing an effective date. Zone change 24-06. Commissioners, keep in mind, we're voting on going from agriculture to commercial on this. Is there any questions that you have for staff or for? No? Okay, do I have a motion on the floor?
I make a motion that we accept the change, the zone change for 24-06. for
I have a
agriculture.
Thank you, ma'am. I have a motion to accept zone change 24-06. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say yea.
Yay.
Any nays? No, motion carries. Moving over to 6.5, conduct a public hearing to receive comments regarding an SUP permit permitting a banquet room rental facility for particularly described as 7.06 acres out of the ML Swing Survey Abstract Number 501, Kaufman County, Texas, and further described being as the Nike County Estates, an unrecorded subdivision. The property is also known as 15662 State Highway 205, City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas. SUP 24-03. Ma'am.
Chairman and Commissioners, this is the waterfall, the gathering place, this specific use permit. Again, it's SUP 24-03. The applicant is the property owner and the business owner. The use of the property was an RV repair, and they bought from that individual. They are wanting to put a wedding venue, party, what have you, in this facility. 8 letters were sent to the abutting owners, and we have not received any responses either for or against it. The current zoning of commercial complies with the use of the property as well as the City of Terrell's comprehensive plan, zoning ordinance, and all other codes, studies, and plans as applicable. Next steps, if approved tonight, will obtain final approval of the engineering and architectural plans as per the requirements of the SUP application, obtain necessary building permits, and pay all applicable fees to proceed. Complete the public improvements as required. During and after construction, inspections and approval by the city engineer, building inspector, and/or city contractors, and then the owner will obtain a certificate of occupancy. Staff recommends approval of this SUP for 15662 State Highway 205 for an event center. If you'll turn to the next few pages, you'll find our application. And some of this is what was just presented. On page 70 is a letter from the owner and what her plans are, and I'd like to read a couple of these with you on the record. Our main building is 5,000 square feet, estimating up to 250 guests or per fire marshal guidelines. That will include a women's suite for guests of honor with a private bathroom and dressing room. Waterfall will also offer a beautiful balcony for an amazing grand entrance, as well as a bonus hidden slide. Our indoor-outdoor concept with glass rolling doors will make this a fun place to celebrate. We will have additional restrooms with sinks, 2 stalls for ladies, and as well as 2 stalls for men, both ADA required with changing station. And then there's an existing building right behind this one. The other 1,650 square foot building on site will offer 800 square feet of the groomsmen's suite with bathroom and shower. This building also allows for a 400-foot square storage and 4,000 square foot catering room for outside vendors to prep. So again, she's not going to have a kitchen. There's not going to be any food prepared. It'll be brought in, assembled, and then distributed to her guests. The next few pages are her outside renderings, and it just looks beautiful. She's got a real big vision, and I made sure that she wasn't showing you something that she couldn't stand behind. And this is her plans of what it's going to look like in the after condition. All right, on page 74, again, is her waterfall logo. And then the next few pages are some of her elevation plans, if you're interested in reviewing those. On page 84 is the location map. 85 is the zoning. 86 is the future land use. The buffer map, because this is a public hearing, and so we did send out notices to the 8 individuals that are within that buffer zone. And then our public hearing notice. One thing before we go into, Chairman, on the public hearing, I'd like to direct your attention behind the ordinance to page for the building standards. On page 107. Commissioners, if you'll remember, back in March of this year, you approved a specific use permit for another event center out at the shops at Terrell that's called Lily's Event Center. And what we did was we used the same requirements that are attached to this ordinance. So we have the permitted uses, we have the hours of operation, we're requiring the alcohol consumption to stop an hour before closing, and we're also requiring a licensed peace officer to be on site, while alcohol is being consumed. And of course, they'll have to apply for and follow the requirements of the TABC and the City of Terrell. Then on the non-permitted uses, we've added 4 items here, and it's just for the safekeeping. The first 2 are the same that we did out at the shops, that no private gambling clubs. 2 is not to be used as a storage facility. 3, that manufactured home sales are not permitted, either new or used. And the 4th one is portable building sites.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, do we have anyone in the audience that wants to speak in favor of SUP 24-03? Will you state your name again for the record, sir?
Sure, it's
Name, yes, name.
Justin Scott, Dunn Scott Investments. We own 15751 State Highway 205.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Can you state your name and your address, please?
Bart Gardner, 15950 State Highway 205, Terrell, Texas. I think it's a great idea. I own the Texas Gun Ranch, which is just right up the street, and we get requests for weddings, and, it's a huge need, so I think it'll do great.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to speak in favor? Do we have anyone that wants to speak not in favor? Nope. Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. 6.6, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, granting a special use permit under the provision of 31B Appendix 2 zoning ordinance of the City of Terrell to AA Soto Development LLC, allowing an exception to the provision of the Section 29 Appendix 2 zoning ordinance of the City of Terrell for certain property more particularly described by metes and bounds as 7.08 acres of land out of the ML Swing Survey, abstract number 501, Kaufman County, Texas, and being further described as part of Lot 5 and 6, Nike County Estates, an unrecorded subdivision, also known as 15662 State Highway 205, City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, by permitting a special event venue to be located on said property currently zoned as commercial, providing for repeal of conflicting ordinance, providing for severability, and providing an effective date, SUP 24-03. Okay, Commissioners, we did vote on something like this, similar to that. Do you have any questions for staff or or the developers here for the, no? Okay.
Yeah, I did notice that, I don't know if this is a typo, but the meets and bounds are identified as 7.08 acres, and then based on 6.5, this public hearing calls for 7.06.
It's 7.06. That is the correct.
7.06.
For the
acreage.
record, it's 7.06.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Commissioner? Yes, ma'am.
Comment. I just want to say, from out driving and viewing that area and everything, I think all of these that are proposed are just going to be a significant increase in value as well as visibility and to our community from what we have out there now. If you rode out there and looked, it's a lot of the trailers and those things. It's going to really improve that area and be a beautiful, this facility looks like it's going to be a very beautiful addition to that area.
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner, I do agree myself. It's a good area over there, and I appreciate them coming in and doing some of these changes.
Yes.
All right, any other commissioner have any other questions? If not, do I have a motion on the floor about SUP 24-03?
I would move that we approve SUP 2403.
Okay, I have a motion to approve SUP 24-03. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say hey.
Hey,
Any nays? No, motion carries.
I like that.
Okay, we're gonna go to action item 7.1, discuss and consider a final plat in the J.C. Hill Survey abstract number 202 in the city of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, being a combined total of 43.79 acres known as Phase 3, 3B, and 99 single-family residents within the woodlands of Terrell LP Development, FP 24-07. Ma'am.
Chairman and Commissioners, I bring to you tonight a final plat for the Woodlands Phase 3A and 3B. And the background on this one, this applicant has submitted a final plat application for both phases, 3A and 3B, for a total of 99 single-family lots, which combines on 43.79 acres. A planned development was previously submitted to the P&Z Board back in 2020 and approved by council in ordinance 2833 on June 2nd of 2020. A development agreement was also executed with the Woodlands Terrell LP on June 9, 2020. In addition, a construction plat was presented and approved to the P&Z on March 23rd of 2023. Furthermore, this board approved the infrastructure associated with these two phases back on May 23rd, 2024. Next steps. If approved tonight, the city will request hard copies of the plat. Applicant will take the approved final plat to the county for filing, and once filed, the city will update our maps. Staff recommends approval of the final plats for the Woodlands Phase 3A and 3B. And Commissioners, I've given you a lot of information, but what I've done is I've combined their 3A and 3B, so you're going to see multiple pages on the final plats and what have you. And I've also given you a copy of that ordinance. What was the ordinance number? 2833. It's in there for reviewing. And again, staff recommends approval.
Okay, Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff in regards to, final plat 24-07?
I do. On the previous page, it says number of lots 56, and there are 99 single-family residences.
There's 56 lots on Phase A, and on Phase B is 43 lots.
Any other questions for staff, Commissioners? If not, do I have a motion on the floor?
We're approving the.
Final plat, yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we approve the final plat recommendation for Woodlands Phase.
Yes, 24-07. I have a motion on the floor to approve, final plat 24-07. Do I have a second?
A second.
I have a second. All those in favor say hey.
Hey.
Any nays? Nope, motion carries. Gets a little confusing there, doesn't it now? All right, we're gonna, 7.2, action item, discuss and consider a final plat in the Rose Hill edition of the J.C. Hale Survey, abstract number 202, Lot 1, Block A, in the city of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, being 6.297 acres, with the city of Terrell dedication for this portion of the existing Rose Hill Road. Final plat 24-06. Ma'am.
Chairman and Commissioners, this is a final plat at 1010 Rose Hill Road. This property used to be the Rose Haven Assisted Living. So basically, what we're doing tonight is just a cleanup of two parts of this parcel that never got dedicated to the city of Terrell. The owners, Ray E. and Wendy G. Manning, are wanting to sell the property, and they discovered when they were working with the title company that part of our Rose Hill Road was encroaching on their property. And that's when we discovered that it never got dedicated to the city of Terrell. So what we're doing is administrative cleanup on it. If you'll pass through, we're not doing anything to the zoning. We're just doing an administrative procedure to take the dedication that the city of Terrell owns and has been maintaining for many, many years. So if you'll go to page 162, and that's the location map, you're going to see a yellow cross-hatched area, and those are the two areas that are encroaching onto the subject parcel. And all we're going to do is be receiving that as the city of Terrell. And staff recommends the approval of 1010 Rose Hill Road final plat.
Okay, Commissioners, do I have any questions for staff in regards to final plat 24-06?
I have a question. So basically, once they dedicate that part to the city that you guys have been cleaning and taking care of already, then they're going to proceed with their trying to sell of this property?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I
They'll-
noticed it's been for sale, and then the sign was taken down, and
Yes,
then it's been
yes.
back. Okay.
And I know nothing about what the proposed buyer is. We're just doing this for the current owner. So they'll be required, once approved, then they'll surrender the hard copies of the plats. They'll take it to the county for filing. We'll update our maps, and then they're free to continue on with closing.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions, Commissioners?
Yes, was this a cost to the owner, or is it something that the city?
To the owner. The applicant submitted a final plat application, and they paid the fee for that application.
In other words, this has to be done for them to proceed with the intentions of
Yes, sir.
selling the property.
Exactly.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioners, any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion on the floor?
I make a motion to accept LP 24-06.
I have a motion to approve final plat 24-06. Do I have a second? I have a second. All those in favor say hey.
Okay.
Any nays? Nope, motion carries. Okay. Action item 7.3. accept the public improvement for the Oak Valley Development Phase 3 being 72.258 acres out of the Philip Walker Survey, City of Oak Ridge, Kaufman County, Texas, within the City of Terrell's EJT. Sir,
So what this is basically anytime someone makes improvements, then the city engineer has a responsibility to go in and make sure those improvements are up to the standards that we have within. So this is just a formality thing. I've went out there, what we do is, just to kind of give you a little bit of the details here, but we basically go out there and we walk the entire property. And if it's a big block, we end up walking this entire block. Well, so we go out there with the contractor and the designers and all that, and we go, no, yes, 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 and go from there. So we walk this property out, and the uniqueness of this is not in the city limits, but it's in our ETJ. So the only rights, and we deal with the county a great deal, is they do a handling all the permits, but on the side of the ETJ, we have the fire standards, the fire codes of the fire lane has to be X, Y, Z dimensions, et cetera. So we made those observations, and to kind of help, if you go to the next slide, Katie, keep going to the map. This is out there past 34, and part of the Oak Ridge, that this is actually a second phase. There's other phases going on, but this is, they already have houses going up now, but at the time, we just had to go out there and inspect the road, basically from the ground below, storm drains and things of that nature. So I recommend that it made the acceptance and had the standards that we have. I recommend approval.
hey, Commissioner, we have any question in regards to acceptance of 24
So
action?
go to the next day. This is a little show and tell, keep going. And that kind of tells you what we look at. Storm drains, curbs, quality of the concrete, fire hydrants, some small things.
All these was built down and paid out by the developer, sir?
Yes.
Good. Any other questions for staff? All right, do I have a motion on the floor for action item 7.3, 24-08?
Move that we approve 2408.
Okay, I have a motion to approve 24-08. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. All those in favor say hey.
Hey.
Any nays? Nope, motion carries. Thank you. Action item 7.4, discuss and consider a construction plat for the Sunset One at Mineral Wells, a resident development for 18 single-family homes situated in the 4.619 acres of land, more described as Lot R and R, 1R and 2R out of the Edwin Gary Addition in the City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, abstract number 105 in the J.C. Health Survey. Abstract number 202 in the City of Terrell, Kaufman County, Texas, also known as 1000 Mineral Wells Street, CP 24-10. Ma'am?
Chairman, our last one for tonight is a construction plat submitted by the property owner and developer. It will be known as Sunset Number 1 at Mineral Wells. The owner is currently zoned single-family 7.5 and was presented to the P and Z and City Council per ordinance 2903 when changing the zone from agriculture to the current status it is today. A development agreement was also executed on February 21st, 2021 with the same applicant and owner. This owner has submitted a construction plat application for their property of 4.619 acres for a single-family community. The landowner developer, RCA3 Investors Group, is proposing single-family neighborhood with 18 single-family residents to be known as Sunset One at Mineral Wells. The current zoning complies with the use of the property as well as the City of Terrell's comprehensive plan, zoning, ordinance, and all other code studies and plans as applicable. Next steps, if approved tonight, They will obtain final approval of the engineering and architectural plans, obtain necessary building permits, and pay all applicable fees to proceed with construction, complete the public improvements as required during and after construction, inspections, and approval by the city engineer, building inspector, and/or city contractors. And then, of course, each lot will be required to have a certificate of occupancy. Staff recommends approval of this construction plat at 1,000 Mineral Wells Street. The next few pages, you'll find the applicant's application. Page 184 is the construction plat that will show you the layout of this community. Page 185, you're going to see some of the renderings and the building layout of some of their homes that they're wanting to feature. 186 will show an actual picture of what those homes, and the pages after, what they will look like in the after. And then I have on page 191 is ordinance 2903, which is the ordinance that was approved by P&Z and council. And this has, of course, been filed of record. On page, second to the last, is the location map there at Mineral Wells. A zoning map showing that the property is a PD, a single-family 7.5, but there also is a PD on it. And then the future thoroughfare plan is for new traditional neighborhoods. So this neighborhood will comply with our future plans. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner, do you have any questions for staff in regards to construction plat 24-10? This is right basically in front of the Oak Ridge Apartments, correct?
It is,
Right in front.
right across.
For single flams. Do you have a question, ma'am? Anybody have, you have a question, sir?
I did have a question. Was this the same project a while back, and maybe it was prior to your time, but we had a lot of individuals or residents of the city that were in direct opposition, given that the road is very narrow, and we had issues with the heavy traffic. Did that come up during this?
No, sir, and I did present this to our DRC team, in-house staff members, and that wasn't shared with me. Everyone stated that the interior roads did comply with our fire codes, and that the sidewalks and the fire hydrant locations, everything was in compliance. And we know that the street across from it is not lining up at this time, but whoever comes in and develops that area, it'll be up to them to, with the city's assistance, will acquire additional land to match that footprint that is there.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any other questions for staff in regards to CP 24-10? I think it's a good addition to that area. Do I have a motion on the floor?
I would move that we approve CP 24-10.
I have a motion to approve CP 24-10. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor say hey.
Hey.
Any nays? No? Okay, motion carries. All right, looks like that's it for the night. Commissioners, I appreciate your time for coming out. And we'll see y'all next week or next month. Meeting adjourned.